Hello, Doc Ola, excuse me, you're on mute
Seryoso.
po.
Seryoso. Okay, sorry. Okay, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, everyone. For those who are in the Northern Hemisphere, I'd like to welcome you to the 14th Pan Asia Pacific, Pan Asia Farmers Exchange Program. And this is the third day of our activity. So I am Dr. Dora Romero Aldevida. I'm the director of the ISAC International Service for the Acquisition of Agri-Biotech Applications at the Southeast Asia Center and the director of the Global Knowledge Center on Crop Biotechnology. I would also like to welcome all the participants from Asia Pacific, including Australia, China, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, India, and Pakistan. Okay, so before I introduce our first speaker, let me just give you some points to remember for the duration of the program. So you have to please type your questions at the Q&A section anytime during the presentations, and questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. If there are questions that are not accommodated during the session due to time constraints, these will be answered through our chat box or email. E-certificates will be given only to participants who have completed this 5-day program. Certificates will be sent to your registered email address. Every day, this is the exciting part, there will be a $20 question at the end of the session. So stay on till our session ends. So we now have 64 participants, and I'm excited today with the session because it's all about biotechnology communications. We know that communication will always be a part of biotech advocacy, and it is important that as science communicators, we can get our message across to different kinds of audience. So let's get this webinar going. Our first speaker for today's session is the manager and project coordinator of stakeholder advocacy at the International Rice Research Institute, or IRI, where she has worked since 2011. Prior to joining IRI, she spent more than 13 years working on communication programs for government projects related to animal health, poverty alleviation, research and development, and socioeconomic researches. She holds a bachelor's degree in development communication from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, where she majored in community broadcasting, and a 2019 fellow of the Cornell University Alliance for Science in Ithaca, New York. So, to give us an overview of science communication, please welcome Miss Eileen Garcia. Ai,
Thank
can take
you,
the
Ate
floor. Thank you.
Ola. Okay, so is my audio clear now?
Yes, it's good.
Thank you. So I'm just going to start sharing my screen. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you, Ate Ola. Good afternoon, good day, good evening to everybody who's online for the Farmers Exchange Program. Welcome to our session, and I'm very glad to be sharing with you our work on biotech communication, in particular, the Golden Rice Project experience here in the Philippines. So I would like I am pleased to share with you our work, and to start, okay. So first of all, I would like to thank the Biotech Coalition of the Philippines, BCP, and CropLife Asia for always partnering with us on the conduct of AFX. It's been many years that we're partnering with you. And as you can see in the pictures here, these are photos from the last 4 years wherein Farmers Exchange participants come to Erie, to the headquarters in Los Baños, Laguna, to see the facilities, to interact with our scientists, and just learn from the field visits. Unfortunately, we cannot do it today, but we can still make the most of our virtual interaction today. So thank you for this, BCP and CropLife Asia. And okay, let me just move on. So for today, I will be talking about a little bit of science communication and how we're applying some of its concepts on our work with Golden Rice. You've heard about Golden Rice and where the project is at from my principal, Dr. Russell Reinke, on the first day of AFX. And I will also be sharing with you some of the lessons that we're still learning, and what the challenges that are we are continuously encountering as we do our work. I would also like to acknowledge the work of our colleagues from the Biotech Coalition of the Philippines, because primarily here in the country, we rely on BCP to support us on our advocacy work. And also the Healthier Rice Project at Erie. My team is the communication and stakeholder engagement team. And of course, the work of Dr. Ronan Zagado and his team at the Department of Agriculture, Philippine Rice Research Institute, who is our primary collaborator here in the Philippines and doing much of the work on the ground. So basically, this is just, I think, a review for most of you who's already into science communication, and it entails fostering the understanding, the appreciation, and application of science and the scientific process. And the way that we do science communication, it differentiates from the other work of communication is that we always put emphasis on the participation of our stakeholders and the public. And the framework for doing science communication in promoting development, the way my university describes it is that SciComm is the know what, the know how, and the know why. So we will come back to these three questions when I talk about the strategy and the messaging for Golden Rice here in the Philippines. So let's move on. So one of the biggest challenges in talking about Golden Rice as a product of biotechnology. So my talk is focusing on biotech communication. Is that our subject matter per se is highly technical and it is abstract. So if you mention the word genetics or genetic engineering or DNA, um, sometimes or most of the time you will get raised eyebrows or surprised look on faces of people who are not very familiar. And so being highly technical, it would require a bit of, well, not a bit, but a lot of familiarization. If you are a science communicator, you need to be very familiar on the subject matter that you are speaking about. So for me, I am a communicator. I am not a scientist, So if I have to like if I need to do my work effectively, I would still have to really study the subject matter, because I wouldn't be able to explain it to my audience effectively if I don't understand it myself. So, so with biotech communication, the information we're working with is highly technical. So it needs to be communicated with the highest level of precision. And most of the time, our focus on being precise sometimes makes our communication a little bit boring, or sometimes people will call it highfalutin or out of this world. So that's one challenge. And then another is that being a complicated subject matter alone, biotechnology is also linked or related to other more complex concerns. So, whenever you talk about biotech products such as golden rice, it will always be an automatic. It is always anticipated that you'll also get questions related to safety, and then some people who are concerned about allergies, health, and wellness. They'll talk about toxins, cancer, birth defects. And then there's this other group who may be more concerned about the environment. They'll be talking about cross pollination, outcrossing, all those other technical and complex terms. And then, of course, people will always be concerned about how it affects their livelihood, who will control the product when it gets out into the market. And then another group would be concerned about, is biotech, is this product going to be helpful, or will it um, further the poverty and other socio-political problems of the society. So we would be bombarded with too many complex concerns around it, and so sometimes it would either make our communication more complex or simpler. It depends on how we formulate our strategy. So another very challenging aspect of our work on biotech communication is that basically when you talk of the mainstream media, compared to other development topics, especially here in the Philippines, there is still comparatively low coverage in mainstream media. And nowadays, we are always um, encountering misinformation and sensationalism. And if the coverage is all about sensationalized um, versions of what the project is all about, then people will have preconceived notions that would be too hard to change. And so these are just some of the examples of the actual published articles against golden rice. So they'll talk about agro-imperialism in time of COVID-19. They'll talk about golden rice ignoring the risks, claiming that we're ignoring the risks and all of these things. So um, this would seem to be a very challenging part of our work, how to correct the misinformation and how to balance the information that is out there. So it is familiar to most of us working already on biotech communication, that there are groups that are really out there um, to criticize and ask questions repeatedly about our work, and there would be rallies. And as you can see here, this is a recent photo of a group um, called the Stop the Golden Rice Network. And during the pandemic doesn't stop these groups from doing their job. So they conducted a rally in front of the Department of Agriculture in Quezon City 2 weeks ago, or last week, to continue their rallying, and to stop the commercial release of golden rice. So as you can see, they're wearing masks. And then as we all are moving into the virtual world like we are today, they are also using the same tactics. They're also doing virtual forum, and they've brought their speakers and their resource persons online to continue their work on Golden Rise. So no, the bottom line here is that no matter what we do, there will always be people who are going to oppose, criticize, or try to stop what we're doing. So it's really up to us how we want to manage all of these challenges that I've shared with you. And as a matter of strategy, at least for the Golden Rise project, we carefully assess if engaging with the antis would help us achieve our objectives or just veer us away from our focus. So we talked about the challenges. Now we talk about why we need to strategize to overcome these challenges and continue to do our work, because really the importance of biotech communication cannot be overemphasized. And as communicators, we have a mission to increase public confidence in agricultural biotechnology products and processes, and an effective science communication is an important key to making the public understand the benefits, and which is tied to acceptance of these innovations, and eventually a well-informed society can advocate for decisions that are aligned to their values. Another importance, of course, is biotech communication provides an avenue for meaningful engagement with decision makers. And as communicators, we need to provide basis and evidence for our lawmakers and decision makers and policymakers to make informed policy decisions that would have an impact on the lives of their constituents. And of course, it is important to proactively communicate what we're doing, so there's less chances of people getting the information wrong. So we also want to lessen the chances of having to explain more if the wrong information gets out first. So there's also a science to it that for every negative story or negative word out there, you would have to make 3 or 4 positive to reverse the effect on people's minds, and there's a science behind it. So let me now talk about our work on communicating Golden Rise here in the Philippines, and how some of the aspects of our work thus far, we are a work in progress, can offer some lessons for other similar initiatives, maybe to learn from our experience. So we continually face challenges after challenges, but what's important is that the anticipation and the preparation that goes with it are our main focus. So you heard about where we are now in the journey for making rice commercially available, and just last month the PhilRice, Philippine Rice Research Institute, submitted its regulatory application for commercial propagation to the regulators here in the Philippines. And anytime soon, we will be starting with the public comment. It is a 60-day window for people who are interested on the project and on Golden Rise to ask questions or express their support to the project. And these are to be addressed to the regulator, and I'll share with you the details later. So I'm showing the timeline here now because I just want to point out that for each particular stage in this journey, the road to Golden Rise, is that there is a specific strategy for communication, and it differs at every stage. And it entails a different messaging, targeting for stakeholders, and therefore would require us to plan appropriate tactics to help the project attain a particular milestone. So at this point that we are applying for a regulatory permit, the objectives are focused on 3 things. That is to keep our stakeholders informed of the project, where it is now, all the basic information about Golden Rise, and that we mobilize our supporters to articulate their support, especially during the public comment period. and also to prepare our project members and officials for public engagement. So, Tita Sani, when she invited me to share with you our experience, she also specifically requested that I share with you a tool for crafting messaging that we shared during the recently concluded APEC workshops on biotechnology. And the Cornell Alliance for Science calls this the message triangle. And this tool helps us to convey our messages in a compelling, concise, and credible way. So the importance of having a tool, like a visual tool, like the message triangle, is that it helps us to communicate better. Because if we get asked instantly, or if we are in a tense situation like a press conference or an ambush interview, we will have a mental guide that would ensure our clarity of thought. So we can focus on the messages that we need to share. And imagining this triangle in our mind also helps us remember what we need to say. So we're focused on our most important messages. And if we get used to using this tool, it would also ensure that we are consistent and uniform in our messages, because as they say in communication, consistency is key. Excuse the dog barking, it's our neighbor's dog. So, applying the message triangle tool in talking about the Golden Rice Project, we will see that we're talking about the three sides: the problem, the red triangle here at the top, and the technology, and the status of the project. And going back to the concept of science communication that I mentioned in the opening of my presentation, the message triangle provides a framework for the questions why, and that is what's our reason for being here, how the technology is developed and how can it help, and what is happening with the project at this very moment and how can it help. So the core message at this point is that golden rice is being prepared for deployment. It is time for golden rice. It has achieved the target levels of beta carotene content. It has shown to produce equivalent yield to other varieties across multiple environments. And it has received positive safety evaluations from international and national regulators. So it is time for golden rice. And just to drill down on the three other topics, the why, of course, talks about the problem of vitamin A deficiency. And the technology, of course, we can talk about how golden rice was developed using the tools of genetic engineering. And the status is that I've talked about our regulatory application and how successful application at this point can help fail rice um, move to proceed to the other aspects of the project, which is the bioefficacy studies, the deployment, and marketing. So that's the message triangle. So I hope that you can also take this away from the session today, and I'd be happy to share with you this particular slide and the tool so that you can make use of it. Okay, so talking about stakeholders, of course, these are the general groups of stakeholders with specific roles and, of course, information needs that we need to address. And we talk to, of course, a set of internal audiences, internal extending up to the ministries, and then the external and the allies and champions. So I'll just have to move through these slides quickly. Let me just look at the message here. Okay, sorry. And then what are the activities that we do to achieve our communication objectives? And obviously, with the pandemic upon us, we have to shift everything online. And so, in terms of doing our work, informing and mobilizing and preparing, these are some of the examples. We do virtual briefings for our key stakeholders, as you can see in the picture here. And then we've also started sending an internal newsletter. It goes out every month. we've only been able to send the second issue last week, and we're working on a special issue because we're entering into the public comment, and we want to keep our stakeholders informed, and to let them know where to send their comments or questions with regards to the application. And also, we have to disseminate our briefing kits on Golden Rice so that our stakeholders and the public know where to go if they need more information. And come Friday, at the end of this week, we will be launching a social media campaign. So do watch out for that. Please look for us on Facebook and on Twitter. Just type in the Golden Rice Project in the Philippines or Golden Rice PH. We will be launching our social media campaign in our bid to support and mobilize our supporters during the public comment period for the regulatory application. So, in terms of mobilizing, we are also working with third party experts, and we're tapping on the goodwill of our friends, supporters, and allies to talk about the project and how it would benefit their sector from their own perspective and using their own platform. As an example, we do have a medical doctor talking about um, still the need for micronutrients, and we also have like allies in the international scene, the Alliance for Science, coming up with articles and commentaries and news updates on what is happening here in the Philippines with regards to golden rice. And we also have a national scientist writing in his column about important updates on the Golden Rice Project. And we'll continue to do this, and we'll be contacting and working with more of our allies and supporters at this time. We also do have supporters from the level of the farmers themselves, the rural health workers, the mothers, and we also want to highlight the statement of supports that they've been giving us, and we're very thankful that we do have a lot of support coming in from different directions and coming from multiple sectors. I talked about earlier how we prepare our project members and leaders to do public engagement, especially during the public comment period, because we anticipate a lot of questions that will be coming in, and therefore we do a lot of media and risk communication training. We also work on a robust set of FAQs. In fact, on Friday, we'll be launching a revised version of our FAQs on the ERI website. And internally, we do have a handbook that our project team members and spokespersons can refer to anytime. It contains our key messages. It contains important contact numbers in case we need to call each other, etc. And so these are the kinds of preparation and preparing for engagement and how to manage issues and concerns from different interested parties also take a lot of practice. And so each year or every time we enter into a different stage of the project, we will have to revise and recalibrate our preparations for risk communication and media engagement. So, of course, there are a lot of lessons, and we continue to encounter challenges along the way. And like I said, we are a work in progress. And through the years of communicating about golden rice, some specific lessons, keeping in mind the evolving challenges as well. The strategy needs to be aligned with the current project goals, and this influences the targeting of audiences and the appropriate tactics that we need to employ. And the world is watching golden rice, and we have to keep in mind that there are different ways of approaching communication from multiple levels. We need to think about the global perspective and the global inputs. what the world is saying about us. But at the same time, we need to act within a local context. And as we aim to, we also have to aim to have a bottom up approach. We need to operate within the local context, what the needs of our local communities are, and how we address these information needs. At the heart of knowing your audience, of course, is to establish and nurture a relationship such that we're not only pushing out information after information. More importantly, we have to have a listening ear to our stakeholders and do our best to address their concerns such that eventually they are not just audience but partners of the project. So it really depends much on the relationships that we're establishing with them. And of course, it entails tailor fitting our communication. And then, of course, we cannot overemphasize the value of working hand in hand with partners and collaborating and building alliances. And in this activity we have today is one of good examples of how much impact we can make if we work together. So the Farmers Exchange Program is actually a very good example of how private sector, the public sector, and the non-government organizations can work together and make a lasting impact. So I recall also a story of one of the participants that we fielded to the AFX program last year. His name is Dr. Eugene Dayan, and he was very happy and surprised and amazed that he was given the opportunity to become a part of AFX. He met a lot of fellow farmers from the different countries, and he really enjoyed visiting the facilities at Erie and the biotech corn farm that we went to, and the farm also in Tarlac. It opened his mind to a lot of other possibilities in his farming, and so um, the stories that we can get just from participating in AFX can already be a very good body of evidence that science communication really has that very big value in our work. And of course, another is that our work in communication need to be attuned to the present situation. And there's no better example than us having to do this virtually. Much as we want to be riding on a trailer truck today, visiting the fields at Erie and the other farms in the Philippines, but we are very flexible. We are very dynamic people, and that we can still achieve our objectives if we are creative enough and resourceful enough. So I think that's one also value of being a communicator is that you can still do a lot of things given the resources that we have. So also, there are challenges we can anticipate. And in biotech communication, we need to be one step ahead and think about all of these possibilities. Like I said, anticipation and preparation is really key in our work on communicating biotech. And last but not the least, we are going to be in this field for a long time because learning is
Excuse me, Ayi, can we wind up?
yes, I'm to the last slide.
Okay.
Uh, um, this is a continuous process, and so we hope you can also join us in this journey because we can all be biotech ambassadors in our own way. I think that's where I end. I just want to again share with you where you can find us. Like I said, we have a project social media campaign launching on Friday. So if you can tune in to Golden Rice PH on Facebook and on Twitter, you can be updated on how you can also help us in our advocacy. So I think that's it from me, Ate Ola.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank you
thank you
so
so
much.
much. We're really looking forward to the launch of the social media campaign and all of the materials that you are preparing for presentation to us. We know that the National Biotech Week is also going to be next week. So there will be a lot more materials that will be distributed to everybody. Now, let me have one. I have seen one question, and we would just like to, this is a question on, okay, before I read the question, please, participants, enter your questions in the Q&A box so that we can have a question for Ayi. Is there any difference about your communication strategy on Golden Rise to different stakeholders, maybe a different communication to anti-activists, the public, etc.
Okay,
Excuse me.
so thank you for that question. In terms of the strategy and the guiding principle, we operate on the principle of transparency, accuracy, and timeliness. So whether it is an ally, a supporter, or an anti-GM activist, that will be the core of our strategy. So we will be transparent. The information is out there. It's on our website. We talk about it all the time in the forums that we participate in. And of course, we only share accurate and timely information. What's different, I think, maybe is in the approach, because there are stakeholders that are more effectively engaged if we do like a one-on-one with them. And then there are also stakeholders like very busy people like congressmen and senator who would just say, just give me a briefing note, I will read on it, and then I will just give you a call if I have questions. And then
Mm.
there are also stakeholders that would need to have a more personal approach. Like before the pandemic, it would always be like a personal visit, a courtesy call to the office, or at this time, then it would have to be like a personal phone call or a messenger chat. So the approach differs because we also need to consider what's the available tool or channel for communication. But in terms of the guiding principle, it's always about transparency, accuracy, and timeliness.
Yeah, I think that's the call now, trust and transparency for the technology,
That's
and
right.
stakeholders would like to see that. Uh, we'll just have one last question in the interest of time. So this is from Thailand, Nipon Yamsupasit, our friend. How can you assess the success in communication on Golden Rise? Have we achieved success on that?
The one of the quick ways to answer is that, of course, we are in communication, we are always taught to frame our objectives using the SMART tool, right? The
Mm-hmm.
specific, measurable, what's the attainable, what's the R, anyway, we use the SMART tool. In terms of project management and in terms of operational, we do have the tools and the metrics. But in terms of the impact, in one of the particular stages, way before, our only tool for measuring the impact is that if the regulatory application would be successful.
Yeah.
So because as I like I said, for every stage in the Golden Rice project, there is a specific communication support um, that is needed to push through, to move through the process of moving from one regulatory application to another. So that's one, and all the other metrics, of course, we employ them. But in terms of the impact, also, um, we measure in terms of metrics like in social media you have the analytics, and for example, if there is one negative article that goes out from the side of the anti GM group, if we see that the metrics are not picking up, and if we see that not much is not much attention is being paid to that, then that's one. So that's also a balance of employing the quantitative tools and the qualitative tools. And we always look to the, of course, it's good to have all the quantitative and the metrics, but also we pay equal attention to the qualitative ones. And that is really measuring the impact. And if you would just compare the environment for communication between now and like 5 years ago, it's really very different.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Ai.
Thank
Let's give
you.
Ai a virtual round of applause.
Thank you so
Now
much.
let's move forward to our next session. This would be on different countries communicating by technology, and our first speaker would be Dr. Xiao King Liu, and he is an associate research fellow at the Biotechnology Research Institute of the Chinese Academy of Agricultural Sciences. Dr. Liu, please, you have the screen. Thank you.
Thank you, the chairman's introduction. Everyone, can you hear me? My voice?
Can you do the slideshow, please? This is not still in the slideshow mode. There you go. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. And before my presentation, I need to say sorry to Sunny because I'm not to check and replying his email in time. And secondly, thanks for the CopLife Asia and the CopLife China's teams to invite me to join, to give me this opportunity to join the Farmers Exchange Program. My title is presentation title is the status quo and thinking of GMO science communication in China. Firstly, I want to explain that why should I to do science communication. First, I need to introduce myself. My name is Liu Xiaoqin. I'm from Beijing, China, and I'm currently engaged in the plant genetic engineering research. However, in my spare time, I write some science communication articles on Chinese online media called Today's Toutiao. Maybe everyone is not familiar with this company. It is actually a well-known sister company of TikTok, which belongs to the ByteDance company. I think this is one of the reasons for inviting me to join this program. Although I work in Beijing, but actually I come from a small village in Hubei province. I have done all the farm work in the picture, such as the weeding, plant rice seedlings, cut rice, and applying pesticides. I can really appreciate the hardship of doing farm work. With the advent of the herbicide-resistant and insect-resistant GM crops, med weeding and pesticide can be eliminated and reduced. Therefore, I hope to introduce the benefit of the biotechnology through the science communication. However, a common problem has been accompanying since the advent of the GM crops in 1886. There are people in various countries who question and even slander GM crops and GM foods for various purposes. The above picture is a collection of thousands of opinions on GM in China. Generally speaking, most people are concerned about GM food safety issues, such as GM food can cause disease and infertility. There's an old saying in China. There are three forms of unfeeling conduct. The worst one is to have no descendants. So it can be seen how much people attach importance to their offspring. If infertility is linked to the safety of the gem food, it will absolutely receive a lot of so China, what are the characteristics of gem rumors? The first one is make whatever rumors you are afraid of. The rumor, the rumor that junk food will cause infertility was spread by a non-professional celebrity in a speech video at a conference. This person said that there are 80 million women with the right age in China with infertility, and this is related to transgenic plants. In fact, this is unformed rumor, but anti-Jim people frequently quotation this video. The second one is confusion rumors. We all, such as picture showed, the small tomato, purpose potatoes, small cucumber, purple rice, and cotton maize. We all know that these are not GM food, but the anti-GM people said that these are GM food and they will do harm to your health. So the uninformed people have a sense of fear about some some agriculture products around them. And third one is distorting policy and authoritative information. Although information from sent by the officers or the professionals, but they often distort the government's regulatory announcement and claim that you say the government department do not support the genetic modification research. Fourth is the nationalism with complex motives. I think there are actual nationalists in every country, and they believe that their own country is the best one. If they touch a little of foreign technology and capital exam, and they will think that it will harm their own country's interest. Transgenic biotechnology and its products are one of the types of the fields attacked by the extreme nationalisms. So, what are the negative consequences of these rumors? However, too much negative public opinion will put pressure on the regulatory authorities. It may tighten the GMO policy, question the research, and then affect the process of GMO scientific research. Question the popular science personnel, and the intensity of the correct sound is getting smaller and smaller. Thus, the vicious cycle affects the entire process of transgenic industrialization. Therefore, although China is the first to conduct research on GMO technology in 4 countries, but China has so far only approved BT cotton and papaya from commercial cultivation. Cotton is approved in 1887, and the papaya was approved in 2006. Although several crops have obtained safety certifications, they have not been approved for commercial cultivation. Personally, one of the important reasons is the influence of the anti-GM people to the public opinion. So who are concerned about GM in China? The first one is the regulatory authorities, and the second one are the research institutions and the universities. After most of the research are distributed in these institutions. Certainly, certainly various scientific research, certainly biotech seed companies that are directly related to their industrial interests, such as Basfu, Bayer, Corteva, and Syngenta, and Dabelong in China. And another one is the extreme anti-GM people. And fourthly, fifthly, there are some special anti-GM people. They just against GM food, but not against GM research. They against GM staple foods, but not against no edible or small edible GM crops. Against foreign GM products, but not against domestic GM products. But in fact, whether it is people who support or opposite the GM food, they just account for a relatively low property of China's 1.4 billion population. The silent people are still the majority. Therefore, if the science communication can win over these silent people, our communication work will win. So, who are the science communication works for? Are the above mentioned groups concerned about the GM? I think not. I think firstly, it may for those special anti-GM people. So those three objections or three no objections. Only when these people understand and being won over can the branch of the rumor tree be pulled. Secondly, it needs to be shown to the silent majority so as to remove the soil where the tree of rumors survival and though collapse and the rumor will self-defeating and unable to spread. But science communication is a systemic project which requires authorities and the media to often spread the true voice. And the scientists research how, although the scientific research have been abused, they still have to stand bravely, and I am one of them. At the same time, I think the companies, the process companies, and the safety companies
Hello, Dr. Liu. Dr. Liu, you're having technical problems? Dr. Liu? Okay, I think he is frozen. Okay, let's now move on. I think we have, in the interest of time, we will continue with our next speaker. And this is going to be Mr. Anil Ganwat. He is the president of Shalkari Sangatan, an association, farmer association in India. Let me tell you also that the discussion portion will be at the end of the four speakers. And please put your questions in the Q&A box. Thank you. Can we have Mr. Anil Ganwat, please? Anil, are you sharing your screen? Mr. Anil? Okay, I think we're having also a technical problem with Anil Ganwat. Uh, please tell us if you are already okay. So we'll now jump to our next speaker, which would be the Director Coordinator of the Biotech Program of the Philippine Department of Agriculture, a multi-million program that supports projects to generate agricultural innovations, help enhance institutional capacities to generate and manage advanced technologies, and help establish an enabling policy development in the Philippines. So let's welcome Director Ms. Annalyn Lopez. You can share the slide.
Yes.
Okay, there.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to the participants of this year's Farmers Exchange program. I would like to thank the organizers, Biotech Coalition of the Philippines and CropLife Asia, for this opportunity to share the Philippine experience in communicating biotechnology. So let me start with this policy statement. The Philippines has a national policy framework that mandates the safe and responsible use of modern biotech as one of several means to achieve and sustain development goals. In agriculture, in the area of agriculture, biotech is considered one of technology options for modernization. However, biotech, especially GMOs, has been challenged by misinformation. And this affected the advancement of its application, especially in the food and agriculture sector. The Stop BT Corn photo that you can see here in my slide was taken during the early years of BT Corn commercialization in the Philippines. So the DA Biotech Program, or the Biotech Program of the Philippine Department of Agriculture, embarked on a mission of communicating biotechnology to stakeholders and the general public to neutralize misinformation. The department launched the information, education, and communication activities in 2004, and we continued on this mission up to this day. There had been ups and downs, successes, and failures, which taught us several lessons. And I would like to share these lessons to all of you today. And we, as much as possible, try to apply these lessons in furthering our work in communication. The first lesson is on partnerships. So the foundation of a national IEC, or Information, Education, and Communication Program, is synergistic partnerships. We began with a consortium with just four institutions at that time to implement a campaign and advocacy program for biotechnology from the national level down to the local levels. So through this consortium, focus group discussions were conducted with several sectors such as the indigenous groups, local government officers, private sector, the farmers, and the media. Through this consortium, we were also able to develop, print, and distribute information, education, and communication materials. In 2005, our efforts to communicate biotechnology with or to the local government units led to declaration of support for biotech in 2 municipalities of Luzon and 1 city in the Visayas. So this consortium blossomed into a network of more institutions and groups to communicate biotech to various stakeholders and influencers of public opinion. The network allows us to reach to more sectors such as members of the judiciary, legislative department, extension workers, farmers, and especially the youth. Now, the second lesson in communicating biotechnology is tailor-fitting communication activities. Well, for us, there is no one-size-fits-all approach in communication activities. As Eileen mentioned earlier in her talk, we have to tailor fit our communication, our IEC activities to the values, to the interest, and to the information needs of our target audience. As you can see in this picture, the woman in blue pants, in royal blue pants, is a Philippine senator. So we were able to connect with our legislators through careful power mapping and profiling. We needed to know their interests, we needed to know their values, we needed to know their information needs, and even their concerns about biotech. We also strive to launch creative ways of communicating biotech to reach out to the youth so they will be encouraged to take up agri-biotech courses in college aside from them being informed about the technology. So students love contests, and so we launched Cine Biotecnología in 2012. That was a short film contest for college students. We also launched the Biotech Fun Fair for grade school schoolers, also in 2012. We also organized a fashion for biotech. The theme then was GM corn from farms to runway. And we created a computer game application called Biotech Crops versus Zombies. And we took inspiration from the Plants versus Zombies game, which was popular at that time. The third lesson that I would like to share is influence the influencers. We should know the key people to key stakeholders, and we do outreach activities to inform them and to communicate biotechnology so that they can influence the decision making of their key stakeholders. For instance, we launched a recognition program in year 2006 for journalists who take interests in writing or in popularizing the science of biotechnology and who provide accurate and balanced information about the science, about the technologies. We also provide seminars for regional field officers of the Department of Agriculture because they are the frontliners of the department on the ground. And we also reached out to religious groups through focus group discussions. Well, several studies have always demonstrated that public opinion is heavily influenced by religious involvement or ideology. So that's a really important sector to reach out to. Then the fourth lesson is the fourth lesson is that personal stories are powerful. We never underestimate the power of telling personal stories. The stories of farmers, Mr. Edwin Paraluman, Miss Rosalie Aliasus, are stories of hardships and triumphs. These are the stories of how biotech has touched their lives, how biotech contributed to changing their lives. The story of Mr. Juanito Rama, a farmer who plants GM corn and practices organic farming, is what other people needed to understand that coexistence between GM and organic farming is possible. So these are the stories that what the people can relate to. And we believe that there are a lot more inspiring stories out there waiting to be told. And so in 2016, we launched the Filipino Faces of Biotechnology, not only to give recognition to those individuals or personalities behind the advancement of biotech in our country, in the Philippines, but also to tell the country, even the world, that they have about their personal stories on biotechnology advancement. And finally, I would like to share with you a lesson that is information, education, and communication is a continuing effort. It just does not end because science is dynamic, it advances, it evolves, and so our IEC program needs to evolve as well. We are in a world right now of social media networks, and so we try to be present on Twitter and Facebook and reach out to our netizens. And we need to sustain our biotechnology communication efforts. And in making it sustainable, we partnered with the University of the Philippines, Diliman, and Commission on Higher Education to integrate a general education course or subject on biotech in college curriculum. And that was done in 2007. Lastly, in collaboration with the Biotech Coalition of the Philippines, the national government agencies, most especially Department of Science and Technology, our partner civil organizations and non-government and the private sector, we have institutionalized the annual celebration of the National Biotechnology Week through a presidential proclamation. Next week is actually our 16th year of observing this national celebration. So that's it. I think this is my last slide. And just to conclude this sharing, we are always, or we need to always be reminded that we are communicating biotech to keep the people informed and to empower them to make a choice. And thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Director Ann Lopez. It's very good to know that the Philippines has been in the forefront of planting biotech crops, and at the same time, we are gaining grounds in our science communication on biotechnology with the cooperation of all the partners. So really, partnership is one of the contributors in the success of science communication. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anna. And now we will
Sorry,
have
I didn't realize that my video was off. Sorry.
Yeah. Waiting for your Facebook account. Okay, maybe I will try again, Dr. Xiaoqing Liu, if you're to finish up your presentation. We were almost there. We were almost finishing. So if you would like to share the last part of your slides. If not, we will go back again to Mr. Anil Ganwat for the India experience. Bowie will be sharing the slides, and then Mr. Ganwat will present. Okay, so I think Mr. Anil, are you there? Can we hear your voice, please? Can you talk? Can you say hello? Mr. Ganwat, can you say hello? We would like to know if you can communicate with us, if your microphone is okay. Mr. Anil Ganwat, please. Okay, I don't think we have him. Okay, so let's now move forward to our speaker from, I think it's from Vietnam, isn't it? Okay, so we will now hear from Vietnam. She's
Hello,
yeah.
hello. My name is
Hi.
Ping from CopLife Vietnam.
Yeah.
Miss Kiều Anh, who is from the Monterey Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, who is the speaker today, just called me and she said that she faced with some technical problem to connect.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm afraid that maybe if she still cannot join now, I think maybe we can skip and share the presentation after the call. I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, I think the three speakers are already having technical problems. So I think we have to start with the discussion. Or Vin, can you present it and we'll share the slides? Is that being done? Okay. So we now have to move forward, and I think we cannot connect to Anil. We cannot connect to finish up with Dr. Xiaoqing Yu. So we now have to move to the discussion session. We have plenty of time, and you can shoot your questions for Eileen and also for Anne Lopez. Let me see your questions, please. Okay. Can we have them? Ayi, are you still there? Can you open
Yes,
your camera?
I'm still here.
Okay, so um, let's see if we have good questions to. Okay, one of the questions here, which I think the DA Philippine DA, and Eileen can help, is a question by again Dr. Nippon Yamsupasit. Is it possible to support science communication in Thailand? Oh, this is for Anne Lopez. Can you help Thailand in their science communication?
Yes, thank you for that interest, and we would be happy to have this collaboration, like exchange of experience, and maybe partner in some IEC projects under some what you call this technical cooperation agreement between the Philippines and Thailand.
Mhm. Wow, that's amazing. So if we can help, really help, because Thailand has a lot of potential. We have the Biotech Information Centers there of ISA, and they've been very active for the last 20 years also. But yeah, there are problems there. Any other questions? Let me see. Can you guys, participants? Okay, one of the questions here is from Woro Ananda. Do you do social media monitoring? If yes, how? So this is for Golden Rice Project. And of course, Anne can also respond if she has some answers.
Yes, thank you. Yes, we do. Monitor our performance on social media. In fact, we have a bit of an investment on a tool. We purchased a tool called Meltwater. It helps us to not just monitor social media, but also media coverage of articles mentioning golden rice, GMOs, and the ERI. And we make use of different features of these tools to see all the news and also the conversations going on in social
Mhm.
media. And we also rely on some of our like I mentioned, we do have like friends in social media as well who would flag some information for us, either for our information or to share around, so that we can be more responsive. So one is another one is again as a product of relationship building with our partners and allies. So yes, the answer is yes. It also helps us to shape our messaging on a regular basis, because if we listen to the conversations on social media, then would be more able to happen at that
Mhm.
point.
Okay. One good question that I find here is from Hannah Hey Kyung Myung. Mostly religious groups are in the front of anti-GMO movement in Korea. Don't you face any resistance from NGOs, media, or public when engaging with religious groups in communicating GMOs. Safety issues are commonly exaggerated in religious community. So what was your success factors in communicating proper science to these groups? Can we have from Anne this time first, and then we'll have from Eileen. So
Yes.
this the religious groups.
Uh-huh. It works to our advantage that currently we have a chair of our technical committee, or we have a priest involved in our IEC program. So it helped a lot in communicating with his fellow Catholic priests about the technology. And early on, when we launched the IEC program in 2004, the religious groups are among the groups that we initially reached out to. And so we have a Catholic bishop of the Philippines who already stated his positive perspective about biotechnology, and it worked to our advantage because it opened doors to being opened doors to uh, really reach out to that sector and invite more people from the religious group, from the church, to attend our seminars, to attend our focus group discussions, to discuss in detail and introduce biotechnology to them.
Mhm. Okay, Ai, please. Do you have any that you can share? You're mute. Uh,
Sorry. Okay, can you hear me now?
yeah.
We have a particular experience in one of the field trial sites up north in a province called Isabela, wherein we were doing public consultations for one of the planned field trials in the area. And one of the striking experience I could recall with regards to working with religious groups is that the anti golden rice groups at that time contacted a local priest to include in his homily their messages of why questioning the presence of the Golden Rice Project in the area, all sorts of things, and they even went as far as the priest having to go set an appointment with the municipal mayor to stop the conduct of the Golden Rice in the area. But fortunately for us, we have established a very good local support in the area. We had farmer groups, mothers groups, the local scientists there, and we even have Father Noli Alparse, whom Anne said is chairing the IEC committee. We also work closely with him. We've invited him so that he can also have a conversation, like a priest to priest conversation. And we were able to like temper the sentiment of the priest. And Father Noli was also able to amplify the messages of how important the field trial should be conducted in the area, and he was able to speak the language of the religious people, so it resonated with the audience. So it's really helpful that um, you have, like I said earlier, you have like supporters and ambassadors representing different perspectives. It's really fortunate we have a Catholic priest in the network, but we're also working with other representatives of other beliefs as well, so that we can be more inclusive in our outreach and communication.
Okay. Thank you very much for your responses, Eileen and Anne. Now we're moving forward to our speaker from Vietnam. She's now ready. So she is Miss Tati An, and she is from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment. Let's welcome Miss TQ An, Tati An. Can you unmute, please? There. Nice to see you again. Okay. Can you say something so that we will hear your voice if your microphone is okay? Can you say hello, everybody?
I think she cannot hear us.
Oh, so what do we do? Um, you can please share your slide and then, hello, Miss Anne. Anne, we cannot hear you. Miss Anne, we cannot hear you. Okay, we cannot hear each other. Okay, I'm just gonna chat her. Can you do something with your microphone, please? Because we cannot hear you. Okay, I think we can move to the next speaker. Can we call, please, we are going to call Mr. Anil Ganwat.
Yeah.
Are you, yeah, you're online now. Okay, there you go. Wonderful. So good afternoon, sir. So let me introduce you again. He would be the speaker from India, and he is the president of the Farmer Association there called Shetkari Sangatan. Thank you so much for coming over and for the presentation that you are going to provide to us. You can start your screen, please. Okay, you
I'm
can
on
share
my
your
cell
slide.
phone. Can
Okay.
you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see.
Hello?
We can see you, but we cannot see your slides yet.
I'm on my cell phone. There's some problem with my laptop. So I have
Okay,
joined.
okay, we have now
Uh,
your PowerPoint presentation.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much for that.
Okay.
Firstly, I thank all the members of this organization for inviting me uh, for this prestigious webinar and connecting me with the Pan Asia Farmers Exchange Program. The topic given to me today is experience in communicating biotechnology. It's very interesting working in India regarding biotechnology because the path of communicating biotechnology in India is very rocky and very thorny. Biotechnology was completely banned in India before 2000, but somehow some farmers, some seed companies smuggled in the genetically modified Bolgard cotton seed, and the plantation started. Some environment activists noticed that the plantation is growing, that the area is increasing. They complained to the government, and the government ordered the destruction of cotton in thousands of acres. And after, under the leaders of our leader Sharad Joshi, thousands of farmers stood in the fields of cotton and registered the government to destroy the crop. And so here you can see, uh, and then after persuasion to the government for 2 years, in 2002, Bolgard 1 was allowed to be planted in India. Permission was given for Bolgard 1. After that, next slide, please. You can the increase in the plantation, increase in the area. Here you can see in Bolgard 2, it was joined in 2002. And after that, in 2006, Bolgard 2 was introduced. And you can see the production, the yields rapidly after that. Where now we are producing almost 40 million bales per year. and the area is also increasing continuously. Next slide, please. Here you can see the rate of cotton, BT cotton in India by the farmers. You see the blooming acreage. It was 1% in 2003 and 2004, and it started increasing, and it is now up to 93% of the cotton planted in India is BT cotton. The dark blue color you see is BT cotton, and the faint blue color you see is the ordinary cotton. So farmers in India are anxious to cultivate BT cotton. The genetical technology, GM crops are welcomed in India, but the government is the problem. After that, other countries have gone up to BT 6-7, GM 6-7 crops. And crops are introduced which are genetically modified. But India, we are not permitted to plant any crop which is beyond Bolgard 2. But somehow, after the introduction of herbicide-tolerant cotton, Indian farmers once again smuggled. We are having lakhs of hectares of STBT cotton, and we have done this. Next slide, please. Yes, now we can skip this one because we have got a little time. You can see the acreage and production yield. Next. You can see the impact of production of genetically engineered cotton. Next slide. We will leave the technical side. Next. The popularity increasing in BT crops in India. Next slide, please. Yeah. You can see that the farmers had adopted genetically modified cotton, and the cotton production for cotton yield and the acreage has increased. But now after a certain level, you can see the stagnation in this production and yield. Why it has happened? Because we are not given the further technology which has evolved. The Indian farmers are not given that technology. World has moved to 5th and 7th generation of genetically engineered, but in India we are stopped at Bolgard 2 only. And next slide, please. Here you see the productivity compared to rest of the world. Indian productivity of cotton is quite low, and farmers want to increase it, but government is not allowing us to do it. Next slide, please. Shetkari Sangatna, under the leadership of Sharad Joshi, next slide, please, is striving for since 2000, since year 2000. We are constantly demanding technology freedom to the government, but the government is in the deaf ear towards our demands. And now in this slide, you can see the challenges before Indian farmers. The cotton yields are stagnating. The pests are developing resistance relatively. Newer pests are like pink boll damaging the crop. This year, we have a tremendous attack of pink bollworm, and we have lost nearly 25 to 30% of the crop of cotton this year. So if we had the pink bollworm resistant varieties, we would have saved this damage, and the farmers would have got some more money, and the country would have had surplus cotton to export to other countries. The new generation of GE technologies are not approved. We have a genetically engineered appraisal committee here in India. In spite of the companies who have given their application for appraisal or approval of new varieties. The government is not approving them. And two crops, that is the BT brinjal and genetically modified mustard, they have been approved. But the government of India has put a moratorium in 2010. It was approved in 2009, and the moratorium since 2010 is prevailing, and we cannot plant those crops, and commercially we can't use those seeds. The cotton is losing its competitive advantages because productivity is low. We cannot compete with the farmers of other countries who have better seeds, who get better yield, and so we are losing our competitiveness. Labor cost is rising, adding significantly to cost of weeding. The cost of weeding here in India is quite high, and if you are not allowed to use the herbicide tolerant seeds, the farmers have to pay more and ultimately incurring losses in their production. Herbicide tolerant cotton can reduce the cost of weeding substantially. Yes, Indian farmers are demanding access to new genetically engineered crops. Our demand and our struggle is going on since last 20 years, and we are appealing towards the government to give us better seeds and genetically modified seeds. The widespread civil disobedience this by planting unapproved STBT is 10 to 15%. This figure is 3 years old, 10 to 15%. Now, the illegally planted STBT cotton acreage is almost 25 to 30% of the total cropping in India. The cotton crop is herbicide tolerant, which is illegal. This was the civil disobedience movement we had done on 10th June 2019. Thousands of farmers had attended this program, and we openly defy law of ban on genetically modified seeds, and thousands of farmers gathered there. We planted the STBT cotton seeds there, and the government didn't take any action against us. Next, please. Here we are showing the STBT press and the media, journalists, and they have taken it to the newspapers. There was quite a row on this issue. The international papers also entered this news, and it took there was a quite a good debate on this event. Next, please. Here are the farmers who attended that program. Next slide, please. And then one day we read a news in newspapers that a farmer who had planted a GM brinjal, BT brinjal here, we call it eggplant. And someone complained that this farmer has got an illegal plantation of eggplants. So the government ordered destruction of that crop, and they dug 12 feet ditch, and they uprooted all the brinjal plants and buried them. And as soon as we came to know about this event, our team went to Haryana, nearly 1,500 kilometers away from us, and we traced that farmer who's been destroyed, and we told him first he was so much afraid that he didn't speak with us. He said that no, nothing was destroyed. Then the local activists convinced him that these people have come to help you, and then his took
Mr. Anil?
Well,
Okay. Okay. You have an unstable internet? Mr. Anil? Okay. Okay, I think we have a
hello.
problem. Oh, there you go. Yes. Can you backtrack
Yes.
a bit? We lost you.
The next slide, please.
Okay.
Hello. And our movement spread out in many states of India. And here you can see Haryana farmers planting STBT cotton openly. And now we have hundreds of thousands of acres of GM eggplant. We have thousands of acres of STBT cotton. Even I have heard that STBT is soybean, and maize has also come into India, and farmers are doing it legally or illegally. They are coming. They are not afraid of the government anymore. But we wish that allow us to do what we want to do. Next slide, please. Because the problem here is the black market of the illegal seed has flourished. There is a big black market, and many of the farmers are receiving spurious seeds, bogus seeds, and they are incurring losses due to because they are not getting the proper quality of seeds. And if they uh, serve the damage, then we cannot go to the courts, we cannot go to the consumer forums, and nothing can be done about that. So we want these seeds illegally. Government should allow us to do what we can do. And the irony is that GM eggplant, it was developed in India. Mahiko company with some government agriculture universities had developed the plant, but it is not allowed in India. Even the genetically GESC has approved it, but still there is a moratorium, and we are not allowed to take commercial production of this eggplant. Bangladesh has adopted it, and Bangladesh farmers are getting the fruits of this plant. They are getting the benefit. Indian farmers are not allowed. Even our Indian scientists have developed mustard variety, genetically modified mustard variety, and people want these varieties, but they are not being given. The fall army worm has done a lot of damage this year in India, and we are not allowed to plant maize, which is genetically modified, which is insect resistant, fall army resistant. Now, uh, farmers want farming freedom. We want technology freedom. We want market freedom. No major economy has success keeping its agriculture in shackled. We have many examples all over the world where the agriculture was freed and the uh, economy of that country had boosted. The surplus of agriculture and trade provides the capital of industrialization. Yes, the raw material from the agriculture sector provides capital for the industrialization, and industry also gets the boost out of agriculture. Agriculture produces are the first stage raw material for industrial goods. Yes. The agriculture growth and economic prosperity require their farmers to free to access the market and technologies and trade. This is what we are demanding for the last 40 years. BT cotton in India provides a glimpse of possibilities. BT cotton, we have seen in the graphs that uh, when BT cotton was introduced in India, the country which was importing cotton, within 2 years, it started exporting, and India is now one of the largest exporter of cotton. BT can make such a great change. Technology can make such a great change, and we are deprived of this technology. I think our movement is doing its job, and we are hope we in all those countries who are pro GM, who are giving genetically modified seeds to the farmers, the technology to the farmers, would help the Indian farmers also to uh, get these seeds. I don't know how it is possible, but I hope we get the last slide, please. Well, that was it. So we, as Shetkari Sangatna from India, under the leadership of Sharad Doshi, we are doing our job, but we are not given the technology which the Indian farmers need. Hope one day we will get this technology for the Indian farmers, and we will have the technology freedom which India needs very, very badly. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anil Gawat. We're very happy that you were able to connect and deliver your talk. I'm very sorry for the problem. Now, we have, in the interest of time, we can only have one question. And okay, Miss Pakyuan, can you please speak? Can you talk if I can hear your voice?
Yeah, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Okay, wonderful. We will have the Q&A, Mr. Anil Ganwat, later on. So we'll just have to let Ms. Takyuan deliver her talk. Let's welcome Ms. Takyuan, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, could you kindly show my presentation? Excuse me.
Bowie, can you upload or post her or share her screen, please? Share her presentation, Bowie. Bowie, can you please share her presentation? Bowie, please share her presentation. Okay. Okay, he's gonna do it.
Is this okay, or I will share my presentation?
Yes, yes. Bowie is just trying to find your presentation, and you can start. Maybe you can introduce yourself or some other things that are already in your presentations.
Okay, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. Again, I will talk about my Vietnam experience on GMO adaptation in Vietnam, also public outreach and communication. So first of all, I would like to introduce about our government direction on biotechnology application. And actually, the government want to push up the biotechnology application in Vietnam. And one of the target is to have a GM crop to cultivate in the field. And to doing that, we developed the laboratory and testing laboratory. Also, we have a few trial error to carry out testing and carry out trial for GM crop. And also the government wants that the three kind of crop will develop in the will be cultivated in the country. These are cotton, corn, and soybean. And in doing that, from 2016, we already approved 45 event of GM crop, including soy, corn, canola, cotton, and alfalfa for food and feed use. And also for biosafety approval for cultivation, we already approved 5 event of maize. And to raising awareness on biotechnology in Vietnam, we developed under the Ministry of National Resource and Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. We have a website to update the regulation, Vietnam regulation on GMO. We have providing scientific information and study on agricultural biotechnology. We're also talking about the safety and the benefits of the biotech product. Also, we update the status of GM crop in Vietnam. We also providing international updates on information updates on GMO all over the world. And
Excuse me, Miss Anne. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Miss Anne, can you see the slides now? Can you see the slide? Yeah. So
Okay,
you can
okay.
just say next slide, please. Something like
Next,
that.
please. Okay.
Okay.
Next, please. Yeah. This I'm talking about the public outreach and communication about GMO in Vietnam. And you can see in my slide that we have two websites to provide information on agricultural biotechnology, including the National Biosafety Clearinghouse is our first link, and the second link is on agrobiotech under the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Next, please. So, besides from developing a website to provide information, a lot of information on GMO, we also carry out scientific workshop and also carrying out raising awareness workshop for many target audience. First of all, we are frequent organize workshop for a scientific workshop on GMO by Ministry of Agriculture, also by Ministry of National Resource, Environment Resource. We talk and we discuss about the safety of the application of agricultural biotechnology, and also we cooperate with ISA for launching workshop, and also we providing launching the updates on the status of international GM crop by and also we actively engage in the primary train program. Next, please. Next, please. Oh no, it's okay. So we have a website, we have a seminar and workshop for on-kind target group, and we also engage the media. We also and social media in our activity. For example, in every workshop, we always invite the national television like VTV1, VTV2, and we also invite the mass media, such as famous popular newspaper to attending a workshop. So also we organize the field trip on and trip and tour to the GM cornfield for on-kind targets such as policymaker, manager, and in the central level, also at the local level. And we have many kind of campaign to celebrate such as 10 years celebration of agricultural biotechnology on and we also from CropLife Vietnam, and they also have some of media and educational social media campaign on agricultural biotechnology. And in conclusion, we have a strong cooperation between Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources and Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Also, we have a strong collaboration with the private company to raising awareness on the application of genetically modified organism in Vietnam. So, next please, thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ms. Takio Ann. And it's a good thing that you were able to connect and we were able to see your presentation. I have seen that a lot of activities have been there since the beginning, and currently we hope that we will still continue partnering with many of our partners for science communication and especially on biotech in Vietnam. Now, we would like to have one question which you and our farmer from India can respond to. So, what do you think would be the most effective way of getting the anti or the critics of biotech crops? Because I know that both of your countries have the same problem, the critics of biotech crops. So, which strategy do you think worked in your country? So, for example, Anil, what is the most important strategy that worked in your country? And then we'll hear from Vietnam on that also.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question. There was a problem.
Yeah. What is the problem? Is we both India and Vietnam have problems on the critics of biotech crops. So, with your
Yeah.
past experience for the last 20 years, what is the most important or what was the most effective strategy that you used that was useful in overcoming this problem?
The strategy was direct acceptance of the genetically modified crops. Uh, we didn't pay any attention to the. We have big shots like Vandana Shiva who are opposing this technology
Oh.
and around the world and which is anti-GM things. But to overcome that, we had to go directly for planting without fighting against them. We just told the farmers that this is good, you try it, you accept it. And when the farmers saw the results, they just went for it and nothing can be done. Now these activists are going to the courts. They have put their appeals in the Supreme Court and they are trying to stop this movement. But the farmers are eager to accept it and farmers are going for it. So direct cultivation is the only option we have and we are going for it. That's the strategy. We are convincing the farmers, we are educating the farmers about this. We are going into the villages, showing them trials, and we are promoting GM here in India that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's a good one. Thank you so much, Anil. Let's hear from Ms. Takyu An. So, what's the most important strategy do you think worked in Vietnam?
Yes, I think that's in communication treasury. I think that we have different groups and we should have a different approach. For example, with the farmer, please show them the effective and show them the benefits of using or cultivating GM crop, and they will follow. And then for the consumer, I think consumer is the most difficult target group, and I think it's a long term and user frequently communication about the benefits of GM crop should be a good way to provide them a very a science evidence on the benefits and safety of the GM crop. And for the policymaker and manager, I think that's they are I think they are quite clear. They are quite busy to think about GM crops, so that let them out of their office and let show them the actual impact benefit of GM crop in other countries, so that they can know.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Emil and Ms. Takiwan. And now, before we proceed, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Director Willie Roldan. Good afternoon, sir. Uh, I think I'm just going to give a very short conclusion. So we saw what happened, what are the principles of communication that we have to learn, and this we learned from IE Garcia. And she has also provided us information on her experiences on Golden Rise. And those are a lot of learnings, and we see how they move forward from laboratories to every step of the way. And we also saw different experiences from the countries, and we're just not very lucky today that our internet connections were a little erratic, that we were not able to finish well. But we saw the experiences of different countries, and it's a learning experience for everybody. And each country has its own way of dealing with the problems of the critics. Let me now move forward to the polls. Okay, so we'll now have an evaluation poll. We'll have, where is that? So we will have these polls which will tell us, evaluate our speakers in the whole session. So let us now see the poll, please. Okay, so this is the event feedback. Please respond immediately for all the participants. One is the overview on science communication. You can rate our speaker. And then the second one would be the sharing of experience in communicating agricultural biotechnology. So we have all the four speakers that we had. So we had Ann Lopez, Akyu An, Anil Ganwat, and Dr. Liu. And then the overall, just forget about the technical glitches. Let's look at the content. How do you find this session? Okay, so I think if you're done, you can just submit and you will see the results later. Now let's move to the important and very exciting part. And it's about our, to the last part of the program. And this is, we are giving away $20 shopping vouchers. And the mechanics will be, we will show one question and you have to type the answer on the chat box on your screen. The first three persons to get the correct answer wins. So are you ready? So we will show the questions. Please show the question. Okay. Biotech communication activity should be tailor-fitted to. Okay, so we now have a series of answers, and these are very fast people. So the first three who got it right, so it should be all of the above. Let me try and check the first three. These are Athena Sky, Shib Kaisirin, and Max Reales. Thank you so much for participating in this exciting part of the program. So we now go to the last part, and for the winners, congratulations to the winners. I have just read, I forgot their names already. We will get in touch with you through email on how to claim your prizes. So once again, I'm Dr. Dora Romero Aldenita of ISA, and I'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same link. And thank you for attending the third day of the 14th Pan Asia Farmers Exchange Program. We'll see you tomorrow for the next installment of this 14th Pan Asia. Goodbye.